Welcome, everybody, to another segment of the MCR. My name's TJ, and I got Mac on the MCR hotline who's going to join me over the telephone here. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're on multiple platforms, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. So whatever platform you might be watching us on, thanks, everybody. In this segment, I came across some astounding news headlines from my two favorite websites, The Right Scoop and The Gateway Pundit. Mac has not heard or read these, I don't believe, so on the fly, I'm going to bounce these off of him, and hopefully we'll get our Mac gut shoot from the hip response. I hope he doesn't let us down.
I hope not to.
All right. It involves gasoline, oil, energy, and it's regarding the price of gasoline and the price of oil and whatnot. Okay. The first headline, and I was surprised when I read this, but then I wasn't surprised. The headline reads, "This is what Biden's high gas prices are driving people to do." That's the headline out of the Right Scoop. And what the report is, people in Texas are driving to Mexico to get gasoline because it's cheaper. Can you even believe that? If you're close enough to the Mexican border, it's cheaper to go into Mexico and fill up. And of course, there's a little bit of a security risk there. I mean, Americans, everyone thinks Americans got money, so they're kind of a target of opportunity when it comes to thievery of all sorts, But people are driving to Mexico because they can purchase gasoline cheaper in Mexico. What do you think of that, Mac?
Well, I'll go to my new mantra, which is thank a Democrat, but I'm not... it's Putin's fault, clearly. It's everyone's fault, but the people who are actually responsible, which is the Democratic Party and Joe Biden and his puppet master, I suspect, is Barack Obama. They want to steer us in a different direction. If you want to get into I think you know what I mean, and we can get into that a little bit later. But this doesn't shock me. People got to put food on the table.
Yeah, and once again, you beat me to one of my punchlines, but that's okay. But that's good because we're on the same sheet of music here. Okay, the next headline out of the Right Scoop. Biden Energy Secretary makes ridiculous comment about Russian war on Ukraine. Basically, the article was saying, well, here's what the Energy Secretary said. And they have it in quotes here. "This crisis in Europe and the crisis our allies are facing and the reduction of supply of natural gas and oil from Russia creates a moment that we should be acting." Now, you wonder, I'm going to take a break here. You might be wondering, well, how are we to act? Well, this is how we're supposed to act. And I'll resume their quote. "The want to see any country that is held hostage to Vladimir Putin. This is a moment for Congress to be able to act." And what they're talking about is implement green policy. That's what they're getting at is, this situation has stressed all the importance of enacting green policy, renewable energy policy. And I just thought, I want to scream, man. I just want to scream,
Well, I've always said, and we can refer back to one of our very early videos, the New Green Deal, because as we started this, that nonsense came out. And we said in that episode, and perhaps we can put it in the description link for people if they'd like to take a look at it, we said this was just a straight up front for totalitarian communism.
Yeah.
Call it the New World Order, or whatever you like, the deep state, whatever.
Well, instead of citing the reason why we're in this predicament, they're gonna beat the drum of, oh, this is why we need renewable energy source. I get so so irate. I get so irate I have
Well,
difficulty thinking straight.
I'm not opposed to alternative. I'll call them alternative sources. The more the merrier that we can get our power. But let me make a ridiculous example. Is I want a new house. I live in a house right now, but I want to get a new house, a different house. So I burn this one down before I get the other one.
Yeah.
And now I live outside and I freeze.
You know what? Now all the more reason you need to get a house. All the more reason you need to get a house then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, next, and this is out of the Gateway Pundit. The headline reads, "Thanks to Joe Biden's astronomical gas prices, gas thefts are becoming alarmingly common in several states." And I thought, gas thefts. And I thought, what are they, siphoning gas out of people's tank? Well, it's worse than that. People are drilling holes into gas tanks and filling up, their whatever gas can they have with them. And then here's the worst part about that. Once the gas can's full, well, they get the hell out of Dodge, and the next thing you know, you got 10, 15, 20 gallons that'll leak out onto the pavement beneath the vehicle,
Yeah, and that'll help with the keeping the planet green and all of that nonsense.
Yeah, and I just, and you know what, I don't even think like a criminal. I would never, in my wildest imagination, dream of drilling a hole into a gas tank to steal someone's gasoline. Until I read this article, that thought never entered my mind. And well, that's because I'm a law-abiding citizen, so I don't think like a criminal.
Well, you're also a conservative, and you don't think like a Democrat. So I guarantee you, it's the Democrats out there drilling holes in people's tank and taking what they have because, hey, I need it. That's all the reason I need to take it.
Okay, the final headline. It's kind of a two-part headline because it involves Pete Buttigieg, okay? And because it says the Transportation Secretary Buttigieg says solution to high gas prices is public transportation. Well, what the article reminded of us was, I think like a week or so ago, he was saying all the more reason for us to buy electrical vehicles, to which the gut response to that was, yeah, that's three to four times the cost of a conventional gasoline engine for one thing, but if we can't afford to buy an electric vehicle, well then we need to start riding the bus. Us peasants need to start riding the bus. I just more condescension from an elitist.
Well, going back to what I said earlier about their wanting to use this to implement a totalitarian state, if we go back to our interview with YP on the Ukraine, he talks about how when he was growing up, you weren't allowed to travel where you wanted to. You couldn't pick up and go and get that dream job in another place because you stay where you are.
Yeah.
For the good of the earth. And all the while, China and Russia and other places are polluting India at astronomical rates. So just imagine that you and I are in a rowboat, and we get a hole in the boat, and I start bailing out the water, and then I look back, and you're putting 3 buckets in for every one I take out.
Well,
but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with sacrificing my life for the earth. And, we've said this a time or two, these folks worship the creation, not the creator. So they're pretty much backward in all their thinking.
Yeah. Finally, and I'd like to end with this. It wasn't something I read, but I heard it on the Dan Bongino show, driving home. Our late, great governor, as we used to nickname her, Governor Taxholm, Granholm.
Yes. Governor
Taxholm made a ridiculous accusation. It sounds obviously within the last 24 hours. She has also blamed, going to you getting to my point before I did, she has stooped as low as accusing the gas station owners of price gouging at the gasoline stations at the pump. In other words, everyone's to blame but them. The oil companies they need to be taxed because they're gouging the customer. The gas station owners, they need to be admonished and taxed because they're gouging us at the pump. We need to be. It's just, everything. It is everyone else's fault but theirs. It's just it's.
Well, this is the gouging they're
maddening.
interested in. They're not interested in any of the gouging that goes on in education, where you go and buy a book for a semester, which you may or may not open at the whim of your professor. It costs $1,000. And by the way, you can't use a used one because they change it every year, which means they change the picture on the cover and gouge you. The medical profession gouges you beyond belief. They have no interest in that because these are the people who the teachers union funds their nonsensical dreams, as does the medical profession in big pharma. So we called her tax home because Jennifer Granholm, energy secretary, never met a tax she didn't like.
Yeah, and Michigan was notorious. Sales tax, state income tax, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because now I'm trying to do this off the fly there, but there was the small business tax, and Michigan's on the real short list of states that have all three.
Yes.
And a little side note here, whenever we tried to reduce or eliminate one of the taxes, the argument would be, yeah, but this state or that state has a higher rate than us. But what they're omitting, the little factoid that they're conveniently omitting, is that particular state doesn't have the other one or two taxes that Michigan State levies on its residents and its business operators. And it's just more omission of the truth. Just
I remember the Republicans crying and whining about how the Democrats in other states, such as then Governor Bill Clinton, was coming to Michigan and taking jobs away from us because of the taxes you mentioned.
Yeah. So, okay, well, this has turned into a long one. Do you have any final comments before we wrap?
No, just use your common sense if you have any. Put the blame where it belongs. Thank a Democrat. When your kids are going hungry, thank a Democrat. So on and so forth. We could go on and on.
Election results matter. Election
results matter. To thank a Democrat could have been a 10-part series, really.
It's just and the union guys, the union guys who like to drive around in their Dodge Ram 4x4s or Ford F-150 pickups or whatnot. Have fun blowing $100 a week filling up your 4x4 now. Because that's what it is. Yeah. So I hope they enjoy that.
Thoroughly.
That's it for now. This has turned into a long one. Catch you in the next segment. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.